I'm Scott Allen Miller. It is the 5th of November, 2019, and this is my vlog of daily life in Nicaragua, which we weren't expecting to be the case at the time that we made this video. So this is one of our 3-year retrospective videos. You will notice I'm making this video in 2022. We're looking back 3 years to the trip we did in 2019. If you're stumbling on this video and we're expecting something new, go check out the channel. Most everything is current. This is a specific throwback episode. For those who know why you're here, welcome to 3 years ago. This was our last full day in San Juan del Sur. We're still going to be here tomorrow. We're going to get a bit of time here in the morning, but we are doing our last bit of exploration. Alan has had a pretty good overview of town. We have seen the things we need to see. We've done the things we need to do, and now we're getting to relax a little bit. I mean, really, there was very little to do. The point of this trip was to walk around town, eat some food, look at some houses, get an idea of what town is like, what the city is like, what the country is like. And that's kind of it. This wasn't like some big, very specific. This is his very first time being outside of the United States, period. And so there was just a lot of, what is it going to be like? Let's go chill on the beach, and figured that out. And so that is what we've been doing, and it's been pretty successful. It is hot. Everyone is pretty tired. And so that has played in quite a bit. This morning we started off by having breakfast at our hotel at the Barrio Cafe in the middle of town, which is very nice. Now, most of the days we've been here, which is really just 2.5 days, we've primarily explored the the north side of town, which goes out towards the Rio Escondido, and the bulk of like the hotels and the bars are all up that way. The south side of town near the Iglesia gets pretty quiet for the most part, and we have not been down there much at all. Rachel and I did a little exploration down there on our very first night when everything was closed, but since then during the daytime we really haven't been down. So that was part of our goal for today. After breakfast, we all did some exploring around town on the south side. Throughout this week, Rachel has been on the hunt for a swimsuit and has not managed to find one in all of San Juan del Sur the entire time we've been there, which is amazing. It's really a testament to just how bad the shopping is in San Juan del Sur. There's this huge gap in the market that there's just no good way for tourists to go shopping for things that they may want on a beach vacation, which is weird because that's basically who's there doing stuff in town. I don't know why no one has thought of providing for that, but we now, 3 years later in Las Piñatas, we do that specifically because of this experience with Rachel unable to find things that she needed on the beach. I mean, she went there with like, oh, I don't need a swimsuit, because of course you can buy a swimsuit in one of the biggest beach towns in Central America and by far #1 in Nicaragua. No, you can't. Same thing for me with like shoes. There's no way for me to buy shoes down here. It's just the way it is. So we did quite a bit of that during the day. For lunch, everyone loved Dale Pues yesterday, so we went back to Dale Pues for a late lunch today. That was really good again. We like that place a lot. Just for those who are watching this in 2022, this is the 2019 location of Dale Pues. They have since moved just recently in 2022. So it's not the same location. It's not the view of El Social anymore. But we ate there. It was very nice. And then we were doing some walking around, and or just before that, I should say, we had been doing some walking around, and Rachel and I stumbled on this restaurant called Vibe with an owner who was from Texas. We ended up hanging out with some of the people who were there, and the owner Summer, and had talked to her for a little bit, and we were like, okay, well, Alan and Teeny want to go get lunch and be done for the day, so we're gonna come back. So we went to Dale Pues, had our dinner, and then Alan and Teeny were done. They went back to the hotel. Rachel and I went out and hung out at Vibe, Summer's restaurant on the south side of town, and chilled there for a while, and then ended up hanging out with Summer quite a bit. And Summer was like, hey, well, I've got lots of people. We're all going to Nacho Libre, which is this restaurant that Rachel had been trying to figure out where it was and what it was throughout the week, because it's not open every day, and it had some weird signs that don't really make, like, it's one of those places that advertise really funky things, but not quite so exotic as to not be realistically real. So she was trying to figure out where this restaurant was, and it turns out they were just joke signage, and it was all very confusing. But so Summer is like, oh, we're going to Nacho Libre. It's like a whole bunch of expats hang out there on this night, and we're meeting up with a bunch of people, so that's the place to go. So we went there with her. She actually drove us there after Vibe closed, so we got to hang out quite a bit. We got to meet a lot of people on the street, hung out there until everyone was done there, and then Alan came and joined us. Because he woke up after having gone to the hotel for so long and was like, no, I kind of want to go out and actually see some nightlife in the city. So he came and joined us at Nacho Libre. And then some of the people from there were going to Republica, where Rachel and I had been the other night, and they were doing an English language and unfortunately also an English themed, as in British themed, trivia night. So we went and did that and did horribly on trivia because it was all references we didn't get at all. It was all cultural references for like cartoons shown in England and stuff like that. But it was fun. We had a good time there and drank some and hung out. And then when we were done there, Alan headed back to go back to bed, and Rachel and I headed to the Crazy Crab, which we had heard was this really good party, and it was this wild place and was worth checking out. So it's all the way at the north end of town. So we had just explored south, now we went all the way north, up to the Krusty Krab, no, the Crazy Crab, and hung out there, and the pictures are in blue because that's the only lights they had. Unfortunately, it was like empty. There was like 3 guys sitting along a wall talking. And we got some beers, sat outside. It was nice and loud, but there was nothing going on. And it really amazes me how dead so much of San Juan del Sur was then, and it's so much more dead now in 2022. What a decline. But there was a time when all these bars were really busy. Now the bars in like León and Managua are busy, but San Juan del Sur is pretty quiet. And the Crazy Crab is gone. So many of these venues have disappeared since we were there in 2019. It's very sad because it really was a big party town and there was a lot going on, a lot of music, and we had a really good time exploring that. So it was a nice day. We explored all over town, really got a good feel for the parts we hadn't seen yet. And our final thing after the Crazy Crab, and I don't have any pictures of this, this was probably our #1 favorite thing for the week. Is Rachel and I, when everything was closed, everything was done, town was quiet, we walked on the back street, and I've tried to find this place a number of times in the years since, and I think it's gone. We stumbled on a little towny bar on the back road, which is the East Road in town, as far from the beach as you can get. And we went in, and it was just a couple of the locals having beers, and we hung out for hours and just had beers with the locals and did our best to talk to them and hung out and had a really nice time being basically not tourists or tourist in a non-tourist situation. And that was really what we'd enjoyed. And Rachel and I have always done that, right? When we were in Spain, we went and ended up at house parties with the locals in our village in Cañar, in southern Spain. And that's where so much of the real enjoyment comes, right? When you're in the tourist locations, that can be fun, but you miss out on so much. It's a different experience. And so we really had a good time on this particular night. And then tomorrow we're heading to Granada. So we're going to be here in San Juan first thing in the morning, and then we're figuring out, because we don't know how we're going to do it yet, but we're heading up to Granada, and that's going to be the end of our trip. We've got a couple days to do it in 3 days to do in Granada, and then we are catching our flights home from Managua, which is pretty close to Granada. It's easy to go to Granada and then just get to the airport and head home. So that is our day here for the 5th in San Juan del Sur 2019. Really good day, lots of fun. The last 3 days have just been fantastic. It was a very short trip, but hanging out and getting to party in San Juan del Sur for 2019 has really been a good experience. And Alan is pretty much generally just loving Nicaragua. This has been a really good experience for him. He's not big on the food, but there is a lot of food he can do. He's loving the beer. He's liking the weather. A little bit warm, definitely humid, but generally liking the weather, liking the vibe of town and the whole Nicaragua scene and everything. And Rachel is just over the moon with Nicaragua. Of all of us, I have always loved Nicaragua, but Rachel is just completely head over heels in love with the country and really wants to move as soon as she can, and is certainly kicked around the idea of not going back home because it really is the kind of place you just come and stay. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe. Comments below. Ask your questions. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can do so. That comes directly to me and really does help support the channel. You can share on social media. Pop this on Facebook because I don't have it. That makes a big difference. Tell people about the show. Let them know this is a throwback and not live stuff. There's only a few of these that are happening like this, but they are happening right now. And that is about it. I will see all of you tomorrow.